Hello, I'm Nigel George. I'm part of the Artecology team, and I also work for Arc Biodiversity and Climate. Most of the time, I'm in this place here, in this studio, which is where we do our Artecology research and development work into kind of eco-engineering. Really, that's sort of what we do. So yeah, you can see I'm sort of surrounded by odd things. We make a lot of prototype stuff here, and we also actually do some of our manufacturing here of some of our products. But it's a strange studio in many ways. I thought perhaps you might like a look around and see what it is we do here. So there's all sorts of things like bits of paper, folded paper. We're really interested in folding things. So that's a great way to increase the surface area of a small space. We've discovered folding things is good, and we can turn paper objects into concrete objects using those same folding techniques. So we do lots of experimentation and lots of collaborations with different kinds of artists as well to try and achieve different effects and different things. So anyway, let's have a look around the studio. So perhaps the first thing to notice is that we are right by the sea. You can see the sea through our slightly crinkly and disgusting windows, but there we go. There's the sea, and that's sort of over the road, and on the other side is what we call Science Beach, and that's where we are trialling some of our new inventions and things like that. So the first kind of strange thing to note about our studio is that we have got that thing hanging from the ceiling, which is a giant wooden tricycle thing. That's not normal, is it? But there we go. It is there, nevertheless. One of our team members is an inventor, and he invented that and did an extraordinary journey on it, and it hangs on our ceiling. Comes out occasionally for carnivals and for science events and stuff like that. We don't use it every day for travel because it goes very, very slowly indeed. About 2 miles an hour, so it's actually quicker to walk. Oh, look at the back wheel. All of the spokes are made from inner tubes, bits of inner tube. So it's kind of, I don't know, elasticated spokes, I suppose. There's bits of the whole thing's recycled, by the way. Two bicycles in there at least, and then bits of everything else is pallets. There's even bits of wind turbine stays when they used to make them from wood. And then look, the spokes on this are just a single strand of unwound cable. And you wouldn't think that they have the strength to support those enormous wheels, but they do, and it works. So but there we are. That is the giant wooden tricycle thing, and it's hanging from our ceiling in our studio. What else have we got in here? Let's have a look in this box. There's something in here. I'm not quite sure what it is. So in the box, all sorts of bits of concrete trial materials, all manner of things in there that we've been working on in the past. Textures, the same different materials, mostly cementitious stuff, but not exclusively. And many of those things have gone on to become objects that we now have as products. But also, interestingly, in there are things that have been made with community members. So we do a lot of our kind of research work. We engage with schools and communities through the process of, kind of thinking of an idea and then designing that idea and then making it a reality. And it's really part and parcel of what we do. It's important to us. This is one of our prototype vertipools before it went out into the real world. And you can see that it's got this kind of big overhang on it, which is a feature of the way that we can make stuff, really. We're not restricted by molds that you have to, you can't make overhangs and things like that. We found ways to get over that problem. And then over here's a kind of newer prototype. It's a crazy looking vertipool. And you can sort of see if I show you down inside the complexity there, lots of holes, lots of places for water to hold up, and down inside there's lots of detail. because we know that these patterns, shapes and forms, when put out in nature, they colonize in all sorts of interesting ways. And so there's a very kind of mad organic shape, and it's not necessarily something that we would set out to make into a product. It was more a kind of a test in making techniques and materials, and just to sort of really start thinking about how you might maximize kind of habitable places and spaces on a single unit. So there we go, that's a couple of vertical iterations there. So that long thing is a biototem, and these are kind of way markers really. We make these and we put them out in the public realms. It might be a bit difficult to see because it's a bit shadowy there, but anyway, you can see it's full of holes, and actually the holes range from sort of 3 mil up to about 10 mil. The big holes that you can see are actually sort of more sculptural than anything. They've got smaller holes inside them, and just make this sort of rather interesting pattern. And then there's a bit of pyrography on the top. In this case, we've got a kingfisher, because this one was going to go out and have some kingfisher perches fitted into it as well. But primarily those holes are for native species of bees that need a single hole to go through their life cycle. We think of bees as honeybees, don't we? But these actually, we have a lot of native species of bees that are kind of not so looked after, and so we make these things, biototems, to sort of address that problem. So we come through into the aptly named messy side, and this is one of our bigger vertipools here. You can see this is a 10.5 litre pool. If I just put my hand on it for scale, there we go. You can sort of see it's a big old chunky bit of concrete, and these are designed for sort of high impact positions really, where they're going to be out on a seawall that's got to really face some serious weather and wave conditions, but again we try to pack in as much pattern, shape and form as we can, because we know that has a really good effect on how these things colonize and the effectiveness of that colonization. And so that is a vertipool that will be going to Wales at some point. As we walk out the studio door to the non-seaside, see where we are. There's the ARC office there next door. It looks up onto Brading Down and over the golf course. So I hope you liked that little look around our studio. It's quite an unusual space, but nevertheless, it's where everything happens. This is where we do all our artecology and art, biodiversity and climate work. And it's all happening here in Sandown Bay in the amazing Isle of Wight World Biosphere Reserve. So when this COVID pandemic has subsided and we can all go out and be, ourselves again, look us up, come over and visit. You're very welcome to come. See ya. Bye.